Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Kelsey Livingston. I am the host today for the episode of Artists in Residences here at Baton Rouge Gallery. We are open now, which is amazing. There are a couple of social distancing measures in place, and we are asking our guests to wear masks inside the building, which, if you are interested in supporting the gallery, we do have them up on our website for those that are interested at batonrougegallery.org. Also, I want to say thank you to our host, Breck. They are the ones who have provided this amazing space here in City Park, which we just adore, and it's so nice to be back. I also want to say thank you to our donors and our members. Without that sort of support, none of this would be even remotely possible. You can find out more information about membership, which we now have as a monthly option, about our artist member masks, and just about, everything that we're doing in general at batonrougegallery.org. There's information down on the ticker below if you need that web address. Today, I'm going to be interviewing artist Jessica Sharpe. She is an artist member here. She's been with us since 2013. She is a mixed media artist. She works primarily in painting, collage, installation, and performance. So we're going to talk to her today about all of her weird and wonderful artwork, which I am super duper looking forward to. Let me go ahead and bring her on the stream. Now, there is a little bit of an audio delay, so audience, please forgive us, but we're going to do the best we can. Jessica, hi, welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi. Doing good.
Good.
Coming to you from Jacksonville, Florida, in my studio.
Yeah. What's the weather in Jacksonville?
I'll try not to talk over you.
Yeah, it's going to happen. We're just going to have to be okay.
The only weather we have.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
we're right by the ocean.
Yeah, that's true. And Florida has a breeze too, which is kind of nice. I'm going to go ahead and bring up a couple of slides. I want to ask you about what I thought was just super intriguing and interesting first. What is going on in this image? What's happening? Can you explain it to us?
So I'm really pregnant in the image. I got a lot of questions about that during this installation. Like, people thought I was wearing a fake stomach or something. But I was, I think I was 8 months pregnant with my son, my first. So that was fun. He was part of the artwork. Wow. So this was in Houston, Texas. It was a show at the Sawyer, these grain silos that were turned into studios and an art space. So this was when the silos were first opening. 25 artists were juried in to be in an exhibition. We each got our own grain silo. So that is me inside my grain silo.
So this
and
was
then what I created inside.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I created inside a 25-foot paper mache pod, basically. And then the pod was filled with all sorts of found objects. I had sea monkeys in there, glitter, all sorts of little specimens and toys. And then there were video and sound recordings inside. So that's the pod there. It went way up into the top of the silo. Mm-hmm. So that was an interesting process, being that pregnant and getting all that to work. So my husband collaborates with me in my artwork, so he was a big help with that one.
Yeah. Tell me, what was the performance about?
So I was kind of, this role that I play often is sort of a pseudo-scientist, sort of gone mad. So the idea with this was that I was involved in some sort of reproduction experiment, and things weren't quite right with it. So this part of the performance was actually the opening. I was in there for about 3 hours, and it was hot as hell in there, let me tell you. It was really hot. Anyways, I was writing binary code on my stomach with the glow paint. And then people were kind of coming in and watching me. And then there was the sound recording going too.
Wow. So you have done other installation work, including this very broad view here of, I think, your last installation here at the gallery. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about what this middle piece right here, this installation, what are we looking at? And if you could, for those who don't know anything about installation and performative artworks, give us a little context on like where this fits in that dialogue.
Okay, sure. So this was my representation of what's known as the chapel perilous. And that concept is basically about when you come to like a psychological realm and you sort of pass through into another dimension and it becomes a little bit troublesome and you kind of don't know what to do with all that information. So my idea was that this tent is a representation of the chapel perilous. And
Okay.
then you see all of the little cups there.
On the ground?
Yeah. So the idea with that was actually, I forget how many, a lot. My idea was that they're little pineal glands. I don't know if you're familiar with the pineal or pineal gland. It's a gland actually inside. Everyone has one in their brain. It's called like a vestigial eye, your third eye. And some people say that it actually produces a psychedelic substance, DMT. And it's been known, throughout thousands of years that this is kind of what they call like the seat of the soul, where associated with intuition, creativity, and kind of, where everything comes from within you. So this was a way of sort of categorizing that.
Yeah, I was going to say that brings me to the topic of your overall artist statement and what it is you're looking for in your work. After having reviewed it, you had mentioned you wanted to find that sort of space that we inhabit, and you're interested in the idea of the conspiracy theory. Is that more about the stuff you're making now, or is that like an overthread that kind of goes through the work you've been making for a while?
Yeah, I've been interested in that idea a long time, and I think it comes out in different ways in my work. Definitely the 2D work I'm doing right now is all about that.
Yeah.
So I can go ahead and talk about these here we're looking at. So these are what I call kind of, these sort of Jungian landscapes. So I paint
like
the landscapes
Carl
first,
Jungian?
and they just come out of my imagination. So I'm not looking at anything. I'm just letting the landscape sort of develop out of nothing. And then I take the collage elements and I piece those on top. So they become these sort of, I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of the machine elves, but it's a psychedelic experience where a lot of people have seen these same kind of creatures that appear to them in the other dimensions. So this is one of, the way I see the machine elves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think having young children and being pregnant has a lot to do with that too. Like this idea of creation, sort of anthropomorphic.
Just to pause for a minute on this piece, and again, audience, please forgive the delays in audio. It's just the nature of the beast. This piece here, I want to talk a little bit about your technique. So you told me that the space behind this little creature, it is something that you had hand painted. Is that right? And then there's collage elements that go on top of it.
So it's acrylic.
That's cool.
Correct.
I like that. I like that mixing of forms. That's neat.
Yes.
What on earth is happening here?
Yeah, so this process, so this one is actually titled, I think, Gathering of the Machine Elves. This is a bit of a larger scale painting. And I had this one down on the floor and I just kind of have my little creatures and I kind of conjure them all together and just sort of see what happens, see where they want to live.
Love it.
This process actually started after I had my son, because suddenly have a child and it's like, how am I having time to make art? So I was like, I got to work on my process because I have a tendency to work in oils and, just do these really time consuming processes. And with these works, I was like, I got to figure out a different way. So usually work on either one large one or 5 smaller panels. And I do all the landscapes at once. So then I have like 5 things ready to go for the next step. So I could like spend one afternoon doing the painting. And then anytime I get that 5 minutes, to just run in and work on it a little bit, or I get an hour-long nap for the kids, I can come in and I start doing the collage elements.
Yeah.
It's definitely helped me manage my time.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know quite a bit of artists who are parents of young children, and I think that there's something that happens where they worry about not having enough time to be in the studio, but as a result of that kind of like nervousness, they end up budgeting their time really, really well and become the most productive they've been in years because of that. Because you've got, all right, I've got exactly 7 minutes before this next thing has to happen. What can I get done? Which I think is phenomenal.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, 100% agree with that. So yeah, it's surprisingly helped my process a lot.
It's good to know. Maybe that's the answer to the secret, to productivity.
Just have 10 children. No.
Yeah, just keep having them.
After
life gets 2. Easier, right? After a while, they start doing most of the housework for you. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through a couple more images, and you can just tell me what we're seeing, what's happening, and then we'll start talking about what you've got on the horizon. So what's happening here?
So this is another one of those landscapes with the collage. This one, I don't know, to me, this was about like anxiety. I think feeling anxiety kind of coming up through the center of you and out through the top of your head. Kind of an inside out feel.
Yeah. Do you see this one?
This one was definitely, been inspired by just moving to the ocean. We go to the beach a few times a week here, so to capture that.
And these are still is this the reoccurring figures from before? Were there the sort of psychedelic, I don't know, I remember what you call it, like worker elves that are just around?
Yeah. And so all these are coming from old encyclopedias, old cookbooks. So sometimes with my process, I'm just sitting and just looking at images and just cutting out pieces. So yeah, here's my little setup right now. This is where I'm sitting. So this is how I'm working, where I'm working on like 4 or 5 at a time. And it just feels like play to me when I'm just kind of setting up the collages. And it's been good for me to just do these really fast. So I try to, maybe sometimes it's only an hour spent on them and I'm just like moving on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you don't need to say more.
So when I have the cutouts ready to go. Yeah. Exactly. It's hard to I can be too fussy sometimes, and it's good to push beyond that.
Yeah.
And then I was calling these like quick collages I've been working on lately.
So this is a collage
Having 2 children now. I have a 7-month-old daughter, and so these are like, I'm not sure yet if these are inspirations for future works or if some of these themselves are the work. I'm kind of figuring that out right now. But these are just the cut paper.
Okay. So this is taking the painting element out for now to see what kind of language you found with just the paper and the sourced imagery.
Yeah. And pushing, I talked that notion of just working quickly through the process even faster and seeing just what comes out. Putting something down, moving on, just seeing what kind of language that speaks. We
featured this piece today on our Facebook page. Can you tell me what's happening here?
Well, it's an anatomical. This isn't allowed in the gallery, by the way.
Well, then we're going to move on quickly. But just so everyone knows, it's cut paper. It's encyclopedias. Relax.
I don't want to start a controversy. Yeah.
I mean, it's art.
Yeah.
So
I like the title of this one, Just Peachy.
Cute. So are you noticing that there's a difference in the type of imagery that comes out when you take your painted landscape away and use the photographic backgrounds from these found sources? Does it change the language for you, or are you able to find that same kind of mood as you move from one media to the other?
Well, yeah, like I said, I'm still kind of figuring that out right now. It's new to me. I'm not sure. Like, I think this Just Peachy image works because it's still like set, like almost like in a room in a still life. So I think that's kind of anchoring everything together, which I think is what the landscapes do too. Like, they need the space to live. So I think like in that one, it's working. Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's still wrapping my mind around that.
Yeah,
That's the question I've been dealing with, like especially with doing the installation. It's like, because I did my MFA in painting, and it's always been the question: do I take painting for granted and feel that it's always a necessary part of my practice, and maybe sometimes it's better to just to drop it altogether? So I'd say for like 15 years, I've been grappling with that notion. But then I love painting. I think that's why. I'm still like a painter, you know. I like to get out the paint, just be messy with it, and
I feel
get
like
in there. So
often painters can tell when someone has a painting background, even if they move to a different media, because you carry some of those inherent like design and color and layout principles throughout. Even if you're doing an installation, if you're doing a performance, if you're doing collage, there is a painterly way to go about that work. I have a painting background as well, and I think that comes through. It doesn't matter what the media is, it comes through, and there's no reason why artists can't go through phases, I think, of different modes of working depending on what it is, the message they're trying to get out. So with that in mind, what do you have behind you? What's going on?
What are we looking at?
Is that the collage wall that we saw earlier?
What was that?
Is that the collage wall that we had focused in on earlier?
Oh, yeah. See, and I can also show you. So here, maybe I can just show you. Hopefully my video doesn't go out.
It might, but it will.
Hold on, let me pop off. Let's see. So this is one way that I kind of keep the installations. So I have suitcases. There we go. Where I'll sort of put different pieces of the installation and storage. And obviously you can't keep a whole installation. You have the photograph, and then I also have the remnants in different suitcases. So it's fun to pull these out. Last sound. Okay.
So I'm not sure if you can hear me, but is the suitcase like the relic, the thing that's left over from something more ephemeral, like your installation or your performance?
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
Like that. Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, so I have a bunch of these up in the attic from all my different installations. I have a few little bar boxes, and this is the little pineal gland.
Weird. I love it.
Things. This is just, it's a date covered in glitter. I love messy stuff, squishy stuff.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, before we cap off the broadcast tonight, I wanted to ask you if you can hear me. I'm not sure because you've been disconnected, but I wanted to know, what do you have going on your horizon? I mean, I know we're in this crazy time with the pandemic. A lot of exhibitions have been postponed or canceled. Do you have something coming up in the near future, or are you working on a new body of work? What's happening in Jessica-town?
I'm showing you Baton Rouge. Hold on, let me.
We may be having some issues because it's raining here now. There you are.
Okay, there we go. You're back. uh, so I am showing at the Baton Rouge Gallery in October. Hopefully that's going on. I actually don't even know. Is that happening?
Yeah, our schedule has just changed a little bit in that we are not having receptions. So our first Wednesdays have been postponed until the city guidelines say that it's safer to do so. Because regularly with receptions at Baton Rouge Gallery, we tend to have, between 200 and 400 people kind of pass through there throughout the night. And we want to make sure that all of our guests are safe. Yeah. So we are still having regular monthly exhibitions. They change over at the beginning of each month. Right now, we're doing a summer group show, so that's going to end at the end of August. And then the fall season should remain the same for those artists who were already on the schedule, who didn't get too much studio time interrupted. So we'll be announcing those shows coming up on our website and on our social media as they roll a little closer. But yes, you should still be on the books unless you've told me otherwise. All right, so I know I already put this up once, but in case anyone wants to see more of your work, I know you have your website, which is jessicasharpe.com. Is that right?
I do. Yeah, I have the website, and then I'm also pretty active on Instagram. I post new images really often.
Excellent. I'm going to follow you on Instagram. I bet your Instagram feed is really amazing.
And I'm often at the Jacksonville Beach Art Walk as well.
Fantastic. All right. Well, again, I'm sorry about the audio delays, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us. It's delightful.
Yeah,
for those that are interested, we will be featuring Jessica Sharpe's artwork all week long on our Instagram and our Facebook, and you can always find more of her work on our website, on her website, and on her Instagram. All right, Jessica, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Welcome. All right, everybody. That was today's episode of Artists in Residences. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you very much for joining me. All right, take care.